Natasha Cloud is here. Always interesting. Always has so much to say. Really excited you're here. Locked On Women's Basketball starts now.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And a very pleasant Thursday to you. Howard Megdal here. You are listening to Locked On Women's Basketball. Like over 300,000 of you in February alone, you keep showing up the way we show up for you 6 days a week, covering the past, present, future of women's basketball. And a critical part of all of these things, Natasha Cloud is joining us from Unrivaled. Tosh, I just want to ask you this. Before we get into some of the details of your season here in Unrivaled, what's been your favorite single perk playing at Unrivaled this year?
Oh, my favorite perk of playing at Unrivaled, I would say that it's definitely the competition here. I get to truly challenge myself as a player on both sides of the floor. I get to challenge myself as a leader. I get to challenge myself as a one-on-one breakdown player, which has never really been a strong suit in my game. Everyone knows I love to pick apart a ball screen and really facilitate an offense, but for me, the scoring has always kind of come secondary, and this is my chance of challenging myself to be better in those areas. And 3-on-3 here at Unrivaled, there's no better competition than the 36 best W players to go against every single night and challenge yourself on both ends of the floor. So that's definitely been one of my favorite perks.
Obviously, it's terrific to watch you distribute. I will push back gently on the idea that the scoring is secondary. Someone who's been in the building covering when you put up a 30 plus in playoff games. But
it's there. Okay, I'm a bucket, Howard. It's there. But, I hear Sue talk about the point guard. A true point guard is a dying breed. And I think that is something that is true. I really find joy in being the leader on the floor on my team, really depicting and being intentional about how we're going about the game, controlling game management, making sure I'm getting the franchise players and our best shooters the ball when they need it, how they need it. Those are all things that I truly take pride in. And yeah, I'm going to go get a bucket when I need to, but my job first and foremost is to be the best version of myself every single night and allow our kind of team to go off of that.
I want to talk more Unrivaled, and I want to talk to the WNBA brand writ large because you've been vocal in a way I think players need to be. We do need to address the elephant in the room in terms of Connecticut, the trade that's been made. And I do just want to point out, and I'm going to, as a point of personal privilege, point guards are a dying breed. It is very hard to find someone who is capable of doing what the things are that you are able to do as a scorer, as a passer, as you sort of evaluate your future. If there's anything else you want to say, I want to let you have the opportunity to. If you want to keep it private, I understand that too.
Yeah, I think I'm still keeping things very in close. I'm also still handling this huge change in my life and in my career and in my family's life. I'm handling it from a mental aspect. I think people just expect players to be treated as a business and go about it because this is what we do. And while we understand that this is a business, there are still human beings behind that jersey. So for me right now, I'm just trying to focus here at Unrivaled at being the best version of myself and really just using the game of basketball as an oasis away from the craziness that is a business. But I will say, regardless, it is nice to be valued by an organization in Connecticut as much as they have valued me within this trade. But I will say at 33, I just need certain things for my career at 33. 10 years in, I'm going into my 10th year in the W, and I got to protect the way that I provide for my family. I got to protect the way that I go about making sure that I have longevity to my career. So I'm just handling it the best that I can right now, just trying to be respectful, handle it as a professional, respecting both organizations as best I can, and making sure that at the end of the day, I continue to put myself and my family first, because this is what it's all about, is providing for my family long term.
I am delighted that you have options, opportunities. I think I would be remiss not to point out the role that you yourself have played in this, both when you were at Athletes Unlimited here and Unrivaled, all part of building options and let's say, alternative pathways for players to be able to make a living. And I guess as this conversation continues with the CBA being negotiated at the WNBA level, I can't help but wonder how much you reflect on early on in your career where there was one path. And there was only one path to take, and none of them involved folks. I'm down in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. I'm right outside of Philly. Folks in this area, we want to see you play on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Now they're getting the chance to do it. What's that evolution been like for you?
It's been amazing to see. I think you hear me talk about it often when I say of my 10-year tenure in the W, we've grown so much. And with that being said, we still have so much left to grow, to progress and push women in sports forward. And in this instance, in particular to the game of basketball. But yeah, I've had the pleasure of being a part of the W and that being the only thing. And from the W, go overseas, and that's your only option to make money in the off season. And that's not the case anymore. Since then, since I've joined in 2015, we've had Athletes Unlimited come up, this is their last weekend of play. Or 4 weeks of play, offsetting that money for players to come and stay. And I think it's been a really great feeder program for the W and presenting players an opportunity to not only play stateside and stay safe and healthy, but to also play in front of their families and W coaches, right? There's only 144 spots. That's less now with how much the salary caps have gone up. I mean, I've been on teams the last 2 years with 11 or 10 players. So when you're talking about the opportunity to be seen, leagues like Athletes Unlimited and Unrivaled, they present that. So now you move forward from even Athletes Unlimited to Unrivaled, and Unrivaled is setting like an unprecedented. It's insane what they are paying us, what they are giving us. We have everything at the tips of our finger, whether it's a studio to be able to come in here and do this podcast with you, whether it's adequate trainers in the training room, adequate strength coaches and conditioning, adequate chefs to make your life just easier in the afternoon where you don't have to figure out meals for the rest of the day. We have nannies for the parents for the superwomen that come in, do their jobs, and then still have to be superwomen and go home and take care of their children and their families. So just from like the whole aspect, and then I think the biggest difference in what I'm saying is the investment into Unrivaled. I've never seen so many companies and different entities want to invest in women's basketball, but obviously they see the trajectory of what women's basketball is on, and you would be dumb not to jump on the train right now. So with this new CBA coming up, I think leagues like Athletes Unlimited and Unrivaled, they continue to put good pressure on the W. And I want to say that again, good pressure on the W to continue to move and to progress and to put players first. Because I think you're seeing with leagues that continue to put players first, they get the rewards that they're looking for. So I hope that the W is just continuing to, again, protect their investment in the offseason. Protection of your investment is these two leagues that are now keeping players stateside and safe and healthy and out of trouble. So I'm really happy with where women's basketball is. I'm really happy to have been a part of the growth of it, even if it is in a minuscule way. But it's an exciting time for women in sports, but in particular women in basketball.
I will push back and in a gentle way on the idea that it's a minuscule role, because it has been significant. And again, a leadership role on the AU side, as well as, again, being a powerful voice for where we are at this moment. And there is this active CBA negotiation going on. So there was news this morning that I thought was really interesting. Wrote about the fact that there's going to be, trading card collectibles, an opportunity for partnering directly between the WNBPA and Unrivaled. And just from like even a fun perspective first, like how much do you get a kick out of being on your own trading card?
I mean, when kids hand me my cards, that's something that I'll never take for granted, especially being a mid-major kid that wasn't supposed to be here. Every time that I see my jersey, every time that I see a card, every time that I get to interact with a fan, I think it's the coolest thing ever, because who would have thought a little mixed girl from Broomall, Pennsylvania would be living out her wildest dreams. So I never take that stuff for granted.
Even when you look at what this means in terms of potential revenue coming into the WNBPA through and via Unrivaled, it feels like there's more safety and security at every turn. Does it feel different now than even a year ago? AU was here, we're moving in that direction. But as the CBA is being negotiated, where we know now the media rights came in at somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 times with the last media rights deal.
Run us our money on.
I mean, I've heard you say it before, and it always kind of blows my mind when you hear any sort of pushback on it, because just this idea, the economics have changed. It's indisputable. And does it feel as if now it's just a question of where does it come in, but there's an understanding that things are in a fundamentally different place for you?
Yeah, there is a complete understanding from all of us that are a part of the W that this is the biggest offseason that we will have for the trajectory of this league moving forward, right? I can remember when I was younger and there were CBA negotiations and all the OGs of the league were negotiating it for us when we didn't necessarily even understand what was going on. And I'd be like, what are we agreeing to? What are we not agreeing to? It's 100 and some pages. Like, you really have to read it in depth to truly understand what goes into it. But when you're talking about moving forward, this is the chance for us as this generation that is in the W to truly make them pay us, make them be better for us moving forward in all aspects of which we need to have resources and opportunities to be elite. That is our ultimate goal, is to be the most elite versions of ourselves that we can be on the floor every single night, so that this business in the W thrives, this business at Unrivaled, this business at Athletes Unlimited. You have players that want to play for organizations and want to do it the right way, but you have to reward those players for what they are doing to you, doing for you. And I feel like for far too long in these businesses, and you can talk about big economics all you want to, is y'all are forgetting the people that make you go. Whether that is union workers, whether that is WNBA players, whether that is other leagues across the spectrum. I think a lot of times people forget who make them go. And in this league of the WNBA, your players make you go. And so your players should be treated as such, right? The elite level of product that they are giving you every single night, they should be receiving the same level of treatment in order to be the best versions of themselves every single night. So yes, that means chartered flights. That means getting meals. That means being paid. That means getting stuff from our trading cards and our jersey. That means putting your money where your mouth is and rewarding the players that make your business thrive. And I think that's simple. So when you're talking about, we get pushback all the time, I'm like, I don't understand how on Twitter we can have like, I just always have to tread lightly with how I verbiage this, but I see men all the time just being like, man, wipe y'all mouths because y'all love your favorite NBA players that make exponential and like a crazy amount of money. And when you're talking about economics and you're talking about W players who understand the economics of our league, and like you said, Howard, the economics are not economic. It's not, the numbers are not adding up. What we are making this league compared to what we are being played is not there. And so that's what this new CBA is going to ensure, along with a whole other list of things that are meant to ensure our safety and taking care of our families, not only during our play, but long after as well.
I have nothing to add. Natasha Cloud, always with the mic drop. Enjoy it every time. Tasha, appreciate your time. Always. We'll be back with Shakira Austin. I'm Howard Megdal. You're listening to Locked On Women's Basketball.
Thank you, Howard.
Locked On Women's Basketball is brought to you by FanDuel. Now, when the game kicks off, the action is really just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on it than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. If you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into the same game parlay. And it's not just women's basketball anymore. FanDuel even has the NBA, the National Basketball Association, which is a league where men can play professional basketball. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Howard Megdal here, back with Locked On Women's Basketball, joined by the great Shakira Austin, here to talk about Lunar Owls, to talk a little WNBA as well. And Shakira, where I want to start is just thinking about your game over the first 3 years of your WNBA career. Has been just this steady evolution and growth. What areas on the court have you felt like the Unrivaled experience has allowed you to find?
I still think there's a lot that I could, figure out how to showcase in the game. There's a unique lineup that we have. So, my focus on offense hasn't been, too great. But at the end of the day, I'm surrounded by competitors and I'm surrounded by people who, show me what it takes to win. So those are all things that I'll be able to pick up and take back with me to the WNBA.
Obviously, when you began your college career, there was no way to envision what the landscape would be like by the time you got to the pros, where you have this opportunity to play stateside, where you have the flexibility that comes along with that. How much has that played a part in not just your ability to grow as a player, but your ability to rest, recover, and feel like you're physically where you want to be heading into 2025 in the WNBA season?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of last W season, I had to make some big decisions on, what I wanted to do this off season. I think it was going to be the biggest off season, I've had so far, coming off of my injuries and, just being smart. There are opportunities to go overseas and possibly make, some more money, but at the end of the day, being able, like you said, to stay in the States and, be able to have a training session and kind of focus on just perfecting my craft and, staying in shape. I think it's just the best opportunity that they have right now.
Obviously, it is a time of flux for the Washington Mystics as well. And I'm just wondering, from your perspective, when there are changes, there are always opportunities too. And, what has that been like? And in what ways are you focused on bringing parts of your game that we saw, quite frankly, we saw in Mississippi as well, into being in DC for the first time as well?
Yeah, I mean, that's my true goal is to get back to, the Kira that was a rebel, the Kira that was unstoppable and, was just different from everybody else. I felt like I was a true unicorn. And coming into the professionals, I don't think they really were accepting of what I was able to bring. It's a more traditional style of play.
Mhm.
And I bought into that, in the hopes of winning a championship. And for the past couple of years, things have been up and down, but my main goal is to be healthy and to showcase what I can do and how much that can make the team better. So I'm really hoping that this year is going to be more of, like I said, hotty toddy Kira. So I brought the red back. I'm hoping that that'll bring me some good juju.
It's fascinating to me too, and I thought it was very telling to the way Unrivaled understood the players as you are, and I say that to say that you weren't putting up these crazy numbers in the pros, but those of us who have seen you play in college, who have seen you play in high school, who know what kind of player you are. You have been a force when you are out there. And there are a couple of numbers I want to point to just on the defensive side. I think it's a really interesting element to your 3-on-3 game. Your steal percentage was 2.7%. That's not normal for a big. That's so high. Your block percentage has gone up each of your 3 years in the lead. You're at 4.5%. So again, you've got a stocks number north of 7. The number of players in this league who can say that are vanishingly small. It's a list that starts with Asia Wilson and doesn't end much after you. So from that perspective, do you feel like the 3-on-3 game allows you to show off that side of the ball for you specifically?
Oh, definitely. I feel like, when I'm confident and locked in, that's where I eat at. That's where, my really my foundation as a player starts. Just being a defensive maniac, just getting out there and disrupting everything, whether that's going in up against bigs and, my first time playing against BG is actually with 3-on-3 or, having to guard Chelsea Gray. Like those are all things that I feel like I can really capitalize on as a 6'5" big who can guard anything. So I think this has been a great space to be able to showcase that. And like I said, my main focus was just being healthy, and I am, and I feel great.
It's so great to see you healthy out there. I also love the team that you're on and the experiences that you're getting to get. Yeah, good. I'm glad.
Let me hear.
And when you think about the sheer amount of experience, we don't have the time to go through the resumes of the folks who you are playing around. What have been kind of your biggest takeaway, whether it's from Fee, whether it's from Courtney Williams, who's just playing in the finals? Like what have those experiences taught you that you're going to take away from here?
Man, I've learned that if we were all on one WNBA team, I think we would win a championship. Like that's truly
Facts.
how I feel. Everyone is just so unique, but we really figured out how to gel everything together, and it just solely relied on our competitiveness. From Skylar, I would give a lot for her to come play with me in Washington Mystics. Just like the level of focus and intentionality and just upholding a standard. That those are things that like I just picked up on from her. Courtney, she's nonstop talking to me about my positioning or where I can get easier buckets. And just putting confidence into me with Gray and Fee as well. Everyone brings so much to the table, and we're all dogs, and that's why it's such a big gap between I feel like us and everyone else that's here. They're all competitors too, but we came in since day one, and it really showed me, for me, what my training camps should look like when I get back to DC, from day one and not waiting until, we're a couple games in. They set the standard. They don't let us have down days, or when we do have a decrease in our energy or in our mojo, we don't let it stack up. We dead it right then and there, and we all just want to win. So, I really appreciate being around those people who care to win, but also are just good people.
From the DC perspective, and maybe this is a strange way to think about it at this stage of your career, but you are now beginning to be a veteran presence. You're coming in with experience. There's going to be younger players coming in as well. In a lot of ways, a reshaping of this roster. Do you change not only the way you're coming in from the way you want to approach, attack things on the court, but are you looking to have more of a voice in the Mystics going forward?
Oh, for sure. I mean, in my eyes, I was a vet after my rookie season. I couldn't wait for my rookie season to be over and not carrying bags for people. And, I felt that sense of urgency since my second year. But now that we're officially here, and I had just put this out on social media, like, all of my vets from my rookie season, they're gone. And I've picked up on a lot of experiences, good and bad, from them, and what true leadership should look like. And I will say that coming to Unrivaled really, I think, sealed the deal for what I have to come into with my next move and my next level for being in DC. I'm excited. I know what I could bring for a team, and I know that I'm a pretty good leader with rounding up the girls. I'm young myself. I'm 24. So I'm someone they can relate to, chop it up like any friend would. But I also have that veteran mentality of we're here to win. We're here to be professionals, do your job and show up, be there for your team. So I'm excited to see what that looks like. It's a lot of pressure, but I mean, my shoulders are built for it, and I've been waiting for this moment. So, I'm excited.
How much did you enjoy the one-on-one experience as well? Again, it goes back to, and we've talked about this, right? You have this game that seems to translate very naturally to it, but it can't be something that you're doing on a regular basis, right?
Yeah. The one-on-one was super fun. That was a blast. You don't get to really have those moments. I feel like, especially within the W spaces,
Yeah.
we're always playing year round. I was just telling my family about it. Like, you can watch videos of the NBA guys in the off season playing pickups, playing one-on-one, 3 dribbles, whatever it is, and just, being around each other and competing. So the fact that we have that opportunity, I wish I could have took it all the way. But it was super fun to go out there and at least get a dub against a great like Chelsea Gray. So
I'm going to need to put you on the spot. You're watching that final. You have your Unrivaled teammate in Natasha Collier playing against your Mystics teammate in Aaliyah Edwards. Who were you rooting for?
Dang! I mean, I love my girl Lee. Deep down, I was rooting for her only because she had made it that far, and I'm like, all right, my girl, you got to take it home. But at the same time, 10 bands was love, so I was still rooting for Fee. It was hard, but deep down, I had to root for my girl, my rookie.
A Cinderella story, although we had her on the show and she was confident. She was, when I saw her get that 8 seed, I'm just like, she is underseeded. No doubt about it.
It's going to be a big year for her, coming in year 2. And, I think she'll get a lot more opportunities than, what's been given to her before. So I'm excited to just get on the floor with her. She's been out here killing, showing her dog mentality, and that's what I want to play with. So I'm excited.
Last thing I want to leave you with, we had Natasha Cloud on earlier, and we were talking a little bit about what it meant for her to see herself on a basketball card, on a trading card. And I'm just wondering, is that a big thing for you? Was that a great experience? Did you have a moment where, say, a fan wanted you to get it signed? And what was that like?
I think more so I appreciate the written notes that come with it. They're very personable, and I take the time out to read every single one. I don't think that when I saw the trading cards, I was like, oh, wow, this is great. But it was more so just the fact that being able to reach fans, being able to see, or read their story. And it just varies. I've had 80-year-olds, write me letters about how they've been watching me since Ole Miss, and I've had little girls write to me and little boys as well. So that's really what I appreciate the most out of seeing, those things come to me. It's definitely a full circle moment, and it definitely grounds me.
Love it. Well, again, everyone should take every opportunity they can to see Shakira Austin. You can do that Saturday, March the 1st, 6 p.m. Eastern time, when you guys are taking on vinyl. Shakira Austin, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Howard.
Locked On Women's Basketball is brought to you by Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. The privileges of the very privileged are no longer exclusive. With Robinhood Gold, your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%. Plus, you also get 4% APY on your cash in non-retirement accounts. That's over 8 times the national savings average. The perks of this high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive your 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk, rates subject to change. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to robinhood.com/boost. Over 8 times the national average savings account. Interest rates claim is based on data from the FDIC as of November 18th, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. Well, that's our show for today. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. The great Jackie Powell is joined for Hunter Cruz. Oh, you get him a day early, talking about this recent phenomenon, draft picks are getting traded. What does it mean? What does it tell us about the players that Hunter and crew talk about every Saturday on our Prospect Show? Make sure you tune in. You're not going to want to miss. And until then, I'm Howard Megdal, wishing all of you a wonderful Thursday.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.